Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today we're taking a journey into the writings of Kadir Kubitschek.
That's right. Specifically, his collection called Traces.
Yeah, think of this as, your quick guide to some really original thinking he lays out.
And the book itself, well, the cover design is by Kubitschek, and Lara Kubitschek wrote the foreword. It's presented, interestingly, as a map of traces.
A map of traces? What does that mean exactly?
Well, it's like a record of a mind really pushing logical limits. Lara Kubitschek even calls it a monument of immortality.
Wow. Okay. High praise.
Definitely. She frames it as a logic that tries to bring sort of order to chaos, sets a high bar from the get-go.
Okay, logic offering order. I like that. Let's dive into one of the first big ideas, the principle of identity.
Right. The classic A is A.
We all know that one.
Yep.
But Kubitschek, he adds a bit more nuance, doesn't he?
He really does. His formulation is A if and only if A. That if and only if, well, that's the key bit.
Okay, so what does that add?
It makes it bidirectional. A is itself, sure, but also, crucially, nothing else can be A. It's stronger, it locks down identity.
Interesting. And this seemingly small tweak, you're saying it connects to other big logical principles.
Exactly, like the principle of non-contradiction,
Right.
not A and not A.
Something can't be both true and false at the same time.
Right. And also the law of the excluded middle A or not A. Something has to be one or the other.
Okay.
Kubitschek shows his A if and only if A is actually logically equivalent to both of those.
So if A is always and only A, it kind of forces the other two principles to hold true as well.
Pretty much. It implies them. He argues it creates a more, let's say, consistent alignment between these fundamental rules of logic.
A more unified foundation. Okay, I think I'm following.
It's quite neat when you see the connection.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. He also tackles Zeno's paradoxes, right? Specifically the distance one.
Ah, yes, the classic brain teaser, the one that makes you think movement is impossible.
Because any distance can be halved, and halved again infinitely, so you never actually get there.
That's the gist of it. Zeno argued you'd need to complete an infinite number of steps. Seems impossible in finite time.
But Kubitschek throws a wrench in that, doesn't he? He brings up the steps themselves.
That's his clever insight. He says, wait a minute, the steps you take are also infinitely divisible, just like the distance.
Ah, okay. So Zeno focused only on the space.
Right. He missed that the movement, the steps, share that same property of infinite divisibility.
So if both distance and steps can be broken down infinitely, then what?
Then the paradox dissolves. Kubitschek puts it logically. D if and only if S. Distance if and only if steps.
Because they share that core property.
The apparent contradiction vanishes. Motion is possible because the structure of the movement matches the structure of the space.
That feels surprisingly simple, yet profound. A really elegant solution.
It is, isn't it? Re-examining the core components.
Okay, so finally, let's talk about something very relevant today. Organizing knowledge. He introduces thematic universes.
Yes, and this feels particularly timely with AI and just the sheer volume of information we deal with.
Tell me more. How does it work?
His idea is to divide the universal set of all knowledge into meaningful thematic subuniverses. Logically, you could say E1 or E2 or EN is equivalent to the whole universe E.
So like instead of an AI searching everything for an answer.
Exactly. You focus it, say your research subject is, I don't know, Roman pottery. You define a thematic universe, E1, for that specific topic.
Defining what's in and what's out.
Precisely. The theme, its intention, and extension. This creates these focused subsets.
And the benefit is?
Efficiency. Massive efficiency gains.
Yeah.
Research, hypothesis generation, it all becomes faster because you're working within a relevant, manageable set, not the overwhelming everything else, the vast non-A.
Makes sense. You're not wading through irrelevant data.
Exactly. And he sees this applying broadly, not just AI.
Like in other fields.
Yeah, linguistics, history, philosophy, anywhere you need focused inquiry. For AI specifically, though, he suggests it means faster processing, maybe lower energy use.
And AI that operates a bit more like a human expert, focusing on context.
That seems to be the implication, yeah, contextualized focus.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive into Kubitschek's traces, we've seen his refined take on identity logic.
The AFA.
His really neat solution to Zeno's paradox.
The DEFS.
And this concept of thematic universes for organizing knowledge.
Yeah, and if you pull back, you see this underlying theme, right? This drive for logical consistency and a real willingness to rethink fundamental assumptions.
Absolutely. Which leads us to a final thought for you, the listener. Given Kubitschek's approach, this focus on consistency and redefining basics, how might that challenge our assumptions?
About other tough problems, maybe beyond just logic or philosophy.
Could this way of thinking apply elsewhere? Technology, maybe even art. What core ideas that we take for granted might actually be ready for a similar re-examination?
Something to think about. Where else might redefining the basics unlock new possibilities?